This story happened to me back when I was 15 years old and a sophomore in high school. At the time, my parents were out shopping and I was home alone in my room. I did what I would do on most days at the time, which was play video games in my room. I remember that on that day, I was playing Madden. It was about an hour after my parents left, and I was in the middle of a game when suddenly the power in my room went out. I was pretty surprised when it happened, and I went to look out my window to see if it was storming or something. It was nighttime, but it had been a sunny day earlier, so I didn't expect a storm. When I looked out my window, it wasn't even raining. Just then, after only being out for about a minute, the power came back on and my PlayStation started back up. I played it off as a random blackout or something related to the power company, and I went back to playing Madden. I got about 10 minutes into another game when the power in my room went out once again. This was frustrating to me at this point, and I grabbed my phone and texted my parents to let them know what was going on. I then opened my door and walked out of my room. But when I did, I noticed that the lights in the rest of the house were on, and it seemed that the power was only out in my room. I was confused why this was happening, until the thought came to me that maybe the circuit in my room was overloaded or something like that. I remembered the fuse boxes we had in our basement, and my dad would occasionally have to reset them from time to time, so I decided to go down and have a look for myself. I walked down to the basement and towards the laundry room, which is where the fuses were located. But when I turned the corner to the hallway that the laundry room was in, I thought I saw the door to it move slightly on its own. Immediately, I got a shiver down my spine. The door had been opened very slightly, and it appeared to close just a little bit. I tried to avoid freaking out, and calmly turned around and walked back upstairs. I'm not gonna lie, I sprinted the final 10 feet or so up the stairs, and then back into my bedroom. The lights were still off in my bedroom though, so I walked across the hall to my parents' bedroom, and shut the door and locked it. Then I texted my parents to please come home. At this point, I was trying to tell myself that the door hadn't closed on its own, and I was just seeing things, even though I'd know what I had seen. My parents texted me back shortly after, saying they were already on their way home. I felt relieved to know that. Then, shortly after that, all the lights in my parents' room suddenly went out. My heart sank. I didn't know what to do, and I thought about leaving the room to another one, until I heard footsteps coming up the stairs. They were moving slowly, and I knew it wasn't my parents because I didn't hear the doors open. I sat there on my parents' bed, frozen in fear. The footsteps made it slowly up the stairs and into the hallway that I was in. Finally, I made my way quietly under my parents' bed and covered myself with a blanket. I then heard the doorknob to my parents' room start to turn until it stopped from the door being locked. Then I heard the footsteps slowly walk down the hall towards my room. But when they got to around my doorway, I heard them turn around and walk faster back downstairs. I was really happy to hear this, and I got out from underneath my parents' bed. I then heard the front door opening and the sounds of my parents' voices talking. I opened up the door and sprinted out of their bedroom towards them and told them someone was in the house. We called the police, and they arrived within minutes. After searching the house, they found the window in the laundry room in the basement to be wide open, but nobody was in the house. They said they would patrol the area heavily over the next few weeks, but I don't know that whoever was in our house was ever found. It scares me to think that whoever was inside most likely knew which room I was in and was purposely turning off the power. Sometimes I think they were possibly trying to lure me into the laundry room where they were. It's been 5 years since, and I still get scared thinking about it. This story I'm about to tell you is to this day one of the most bizarre things to ever happen to me. It was a Thursday night about a year ago, and I was in my house playing Call of Duty. It was pretty much a nightly thing for me to play. I had my headset in, and was playing some pretty good games. I played with my friends until they got off, and then I kept playing. It was probably around 11 o'clock at night when I heard an unfamiliar voice in my headset, in a different tone and volume than it had been before. The voice said, "I can see you." Then I heard some static in the headset and a weird beeping noise. I took off my headset for a second and then put it back on. The voice once again said that they could see me, and then they said my first name. It really creeped me out when I heard it. Then my game suddenly froze up and there was no more sound in my headset. Didn't know how to explain what had just happened, so I just got up and restarted my Xbox, and then started up Call of Duty again. I decided to take a little break before starting another game though, and I got up to get something to drink. When I came back to my room, I looked out my window to look around. When I did, I noticed parked in front of my yard was one of those white work trucks. Now, I lived in the city, so there was a lot of houses near each other, and it wasn't all that uncommon to see work trucks. But with it being 11:30 at night now, and the truck in front of my house, it was strange. I looked, and I couldn't see anybody in the driver's seat. I decided to close my blinds, and then went back to playing Call of Duty. I didn't have any more problems or any more weird things happen with the game or my headset, so I was feeling a little better, and I started trying to forget about what had happened. But then, out of nowhere, I thought I heard a knock coming from my bedroom window. I had my headset in and was listening to the game, so I couldn't really hear very well, but I took off my headset just in time to hear the final knock on my window. It scared me a lot, and I froze there for a second, not knowing what to do. I started deciding whether I should call the police or look out the window or just run away. Then I heard the noise of an engine starting. I slowly and carefully lifted the blinds of my window to peek outside, and I saw the truck that had been parked in front of my house driving away. After that, I turned my TV back to normal TV and turned off my Xbox. Nothing else happened that night, and I'm convinced that somebody in that truck was trying to mess with me for some reason that night. I just don't know why. I'm a very addicted gamer, and my favorite games are Call of Duty. I remember back when my brother told me that the Call of Duty Cold War was releasing their beta. I was excited when he told me this because I knew that this game was going to be awesome. Later on, when the Cold War beta was finally released at midnight, I got on my Xbox and started to download it. I remember just thinking how this game would be so great. After I downloaded it, I clicked on it to launch the game. It looked really cool, and I was pretty nervous to play it. I don't know why I get nervous, but I just do. Anyways, when I got into a multiplayer lobby, I looked at my monitor and saw that someone was talking. I got curious, so I went to get my headset and plugged it in. Almost right away, I remember something spooked me, like a big bang in his mic. I said into the mic, "Hello," but there was no response. I said hello again, to still nothing. Then another person started talking, and we sort of just had fun and played the game for a while. When the game was almost done, I suddenly heard a terrifying, ear-piercing scream of a woman in the background. My body shook as I heard this. I didn't know what to do. I tried to say hello, but I didn't have the courage to. For a brief moment, I heard a man screaming at a person to stop in the background as well. I didn't know if this was real or not. After that, a huge bang scared the living day out of me. I was freaking out so much that I had to turn off my console and just take a moment to think at what had just happened. I had to tell my parents and my friends about it. Was it a prank, or was it actually a person who was in desperate trouble? I guess I might never know. This only happened to me a year ago, and it still haunts me to think of what I could have heard next in my headset.